Hey gamers, it's grindthisgame here with my 5-year history of oxygen not included. I'll review my favorite bases, all back from the beginning, and it all started back almost 5 years ago in May 2017. Let's take a look. So here we are in the middle of some terrestrial body, probably an asteroid of some sort. We got our 3 characters, and let's just pause as we kind of take a look around. That was the original audio from my first Oxygen Not Included episode. I quickly was addicted to the game, and this is the result of that playthrough. I think over 1,000 cycles in. I can't remember exactly, but this was way back, early days in the game, when there was no spaceships, there was no jobs, there was no critters except for I think hatches, and fluid oxygen wasn't as lethal. And I had some learning curves, as you can see there. So I'm going to show you a minute or two out of each major base that I made along the way. It's been a blast. I love this game. I'm currently through a playthrough in the DLC that finally came out. Back in the day, you could have a lot of dupes and a lot of polluted oxygen, and they didn't really mind. I'll be playing bits of the soundtrack from the game as well as we go through here. I just bought it today. I should have bought it a long time ago. The music in this game is pretty amazing. And it adjusts based on what you're doing and whether you're zoomed in or zoomed out. So this was, my first base. It was a blast. It was fun. Back when sleet wheat didn't require fertilization. And then they came out with Outbreak, where slime lung used to be lethal. It was fun. It was a brand new challenge, new base, new upgrade, more things to manage, and doctors and treating dupes. It was really fun. As you can see, I have a giant food storage and chlorine gas. Back when the 4-door meta worked and you could have an airlock using that method. Replaced with liquid locks later on. And back then, you could make natural gas using fertilizer makers. A lot of it. You still can, but they changed that up. At the end of every base, I try to zoom out and show everyone how everything looks. This was a fun playthrough. I kind of liked how slime lung used to be lethal. It made the game more challenging. Now I'm not going in any exact order. I'm kind of going through history here, but not precisely. And I've taken footage from kind of the last episode of each of my main series. I'll probably link to every playlist in the description if you want to walk down memory lane and see some of these older ones. And then we got the oil and plastic upgrade, which is pretty amazing. Back in the day, you could turn oil directly into natural gas and generate tons of power. Now it's a little bit different. Now you got to turn oil into petroleum to sour gas into, I think, methane, and methane back down into natural gas. Crude oil used to be way more transparent back in the day. I kind of like the look of it here. Every new upgrade that the developer came out with, provided basically a brand new playthrough, which was really fun during the whole early access period. And then, as you know, the DLC Spaced Out came out much later with brand new gameplay. Really fun. Here we are doing some early plastic making with the polymer press, which used to overheat on me. Some of my bases were a bit smaller, because the next upgrade would come out and I'd start from scratch. Now this next base was on the expressive upgrade, and it was a custom map, super cold, tiny little asteroid. Not super tiny, kind of small compared to the main starting asteroid. This is a challenging playthrough. Dealing with cold is somewhat easier than dealing with heat, but it's got its own special challenge. There was a bunch of challenge maps that came out. I ended up creating one called the Great Pyramid, which actually Clay played on one of their live streams, which was pretty cool. The goal was to get to the bottom of the ancient pyramid and find the secret chambers. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was pretty fun. Yeah, dealing with extreme cold on maps takes a little bit of ingenuity. Using a thermoregulator with some automation can get you bootstrapped to melting ice and stuff. Here's a look at the asteroid from zooming way out. And sometimes at the end of my playthroughs I'd use debug mode to cause some crazy events, which we'll see later in this video. Acts of the clay gods, or the grind this game gods. Yeah, showing all the overlays at the end of the space. It's pretty fun. And somewhere along the way we got the ranch upgrade with lots of new critters, Drekos and shine bugs, and I think we got the different morphs as well. The different varieties of hatches. I can see a morb in there as well. Morbs were there from the beginning, I think. Morbs are pretty cool. Except they make stinky slime lung oxygen. We got slicksters. I think we got slicksters back in the oil upgrade, but yeah, lots of new critters, the ranching thing. In this base I gave some private bedrooms with bathrooms. It was pretty fun. Every single base I try to make a little bit different. As you'll see later on, some of the bases are way different. Like the pyramid base is coming up. It was one of my favorite. I don't use showers as much in the game, but I probably should. They're fun to watch the dupes shower. It does take them extra time though, but they do get a morale bonus. The decor on this map was nice and high, keeps those dupes nice and happy. I fed them really good food on this playthrough as well. Pepper bread. Pepper bread was the best, I think, when I did this playthrough. And then somewhere along the way, I'm not sure if it was directly after, we got the cosmic upgrade, so that's the next base. And there was a cataclysmic ending to this base. It was fun, but we got up to cycle 744 there, about 16 dupes. Not a huge base, but a fun base. They're all fun. I've never had a base I didn't like. Zooming out here, showing you how this one turned out. The replayability of this game is just off the charts. It's different every time, and there's ways you can change it up for yourself. And there's challenge maps, and there's mods, and here's me using debug tools to cause havoc at the bottom of the asteroid, causing a magma explosion. Some dupes were injured. But it was a fun ending. Little base tour here. Don't light a match. Don't light a match. There'd be a problem. And then I really tried to challenge myself with the 100 dupe challenge. I also challenged my computer, because the game gets pretty laggy. This was an extremely fun playthrough. Look at the density, I loved it. There were so many dupes. Now this was before there were schedules. So they all woke up at the same time in the morning, which you'll see at the end of this clip. Just complete chaos, I loved it. Look at them all. And surprisingly, not as laggy. as you'd expect. This was a pretty big base, lots of oxygen supply, as you could imagine. Looking at some of the overlays here, oxygen overlay. This is when oxygen kind of had, or some of the gases had like a, I think they still had a angle to them. They kind of drifted in one direction diagonally. But later on they fixed that and it became more chaotic. Here's the gas overlay, pretty crazy. Good times in this base. Okay, so maybe there was some lag, especially during this cycle. Look at them all here. Ah! They're all rushing to the same toilet. Could be a mess. Okay, this next base was more of an experimental base. This was actually probably earlier in the time thing, but this thing was a hydrogen bubbler. This was a design someone came up with. This is long before aquatuners. This was the way to make liquid hydrogen. Now there was no use for liquid hydrogen back then. There's also some liquid oxygen that's used, but a pretty cool design, multi-chamber design. I wanted to build one and do a few other experiments on this playthrough. So it wasn't as long a playthrough, but it was a kind of a learning experience. Smaller base. Now some of the experiments I did were in debug mode, but I'd usually actually make just bases because it's fun to start from scratch. This was also on one of those super frozen asteroids. This next base coming up though is my favorite of all. The pyramid base. I loved this thing. It was fun to build. There's multiple pyramids. There was one main pyramid for the main base, and then a few smaller pyramids for the industrial stuff, like oil processing. And this one was great. We got a little bit of power generation in the bottom, storage in the bottom right, mess halls in the middle column, some fancy bedrooms on the left, a little bit of food in the middle top. It was fun. The dupes look pretty happy. And they even had showers. The decor was impressive. Most of the base was made out of metal, so there's lots of decor, lots of paintings. A little bit of save load lag there. Cycle lag. Here they are harvesting their lunch. And this is one of the little mini pyramids that had oxygen cooling. Back when I used to use the anti-entropy thermonullifiers a lot for cooling, before they had the aquatuner. A lighter version of the aquatuner. You just have to feed them hydrogen. They're still in the game. They're pretty good. Got some fertilizer makers right in the core of the base. This must have been an earlier base because I see the 4-door airlock before liquid locks were needed. There's a zoomed out version. So we got the little mini pyramids in the top right there. The next one's a challenge base. The tube challenge base. This was made by Clay, I think. So I think it started off with 9 neutronium surrounded cubes, and they only had like one tile where you could escape from each cube, and you had to use tubes to connect each one and build in each one. I ended up building outside the cubes, thinking outside the box a little bit. I'm not sure if that was cheating, but it was definitely an interesting challenge. I'm glad they made this challenge map. I should probably do more challenge maps in my playthroughs because they're always really fun. you're dealing with constraints, and that really makes the game much more fun. My current playthrough is going to be trying to do every achievement in the DLC, which I've actually never done. I tried to get to the bottom of the map to see what the devs put at the bottom. It was basically just a bunch of Wheeze words. Some of these challenge maps, they don't quite work anymore because the game has been updated so much, but I'm sure there's still some of them out there. Now I'm kind of going out of order here because it might be in order. The next one is the jobs upgrade and my jobs base. This is when we got the all-important hats. Gotta love the hats. Dupes and hats, the cutest thing ever. So instead of the priorities tab, we got the jobs tab. This was an early iteration. This is a fun base, experimenting with all the different jobs and specialities. Here's some kind of cooling thing I built. This looks like it's cooling maybe oxygen, some petroleum. Here's the room overlay, give you an idea of what I built. And then we had some early iterations of the steam turbine, even before they had art. But after this, the next base was the space base. This is probably one of the biggest updates in the game. This one was fun. This is when we got rockets early on. This was a very tall and skinny base. This is where every single duplicate also had a shower and a bathroom. I spoiled my dupes on this one. I think I only built one rocket. The one thing I don't like about the main game is the meteor showers and dealing with them. I prefer the new DLC rocket system. The initial planet on the DLC, you don't have meteor showers. Some of the other asteroids have them, so it's fun. You kind of work your way into it, but on the main asteroid, you don't have them. I'm gonna do some overlays here. I think I made an art exhibit for them. Tried to get all the varieties of every single painting, and I think this is when they introduced sour gas. So the whole way you refine oil into natural gas changed. Made it a bit more challenging. Made people come up with the sour gas boiler, which was interesting. I don't think I've ever built one yet, but. And here's what you have to build to keep the meteorites from destroying your solar panels if you want to use them. Pretty convoluted design. Lots of sensing and automation and opening doors and closing doors. And here's another base I made during the MEEP upgrade, which came with lots of new things, new recreational buildings, I think. I gave them a hot tub. Lots of decorations in this base. I went for a vertical ranching stables in this one. Lots of statues. Some showers. We got salt water somewhere along the way there as well. And the desalinator. Adding even more variety. Here's my oil setup. Oh, this planet, this asteroid had a frozen core. I don't think I really did anything with it, but. Oh, back in the day when you could build an artificial sun out of tons and tons of shine bugs. It's pretty fun. Now they actually give off radiation, so it's a little bit more dangerous in the DLC. Trying to tame some copper volcanoes there. Oh, and I used jet suits on that one. And I tried to use every recreational building. Got a surfboard and something else there. I don't even know what that little one is. I think I built an air tunnel, wind tunnel on this one as well. There's a juicer, espresso machine, a soda machine. Lots of fun things for your dupes to keep them happy. Here they are jumping in the hot tub. I remember the hot tub was challenging to build the first time. They didn't have any oxygen in there. That's like a bit of a problem. Then I decided I need even more challenge, so I did a hard mode playthrough on one of the harder asteroids. This was with all the settings to max difficulty, so they take, I think, they eat double as much, they breathe twice as much, their stress responses are much more touchy. In fact, if one dupe dies in their morning, it can really cause a spiral, a downward spiral of stress. This is a really fun playthrough. This is probably my most watched series, or second most watched series. I think the first video in the series has over 500,000 views. It was super fun. I highly recommend it. I don't think care packages existed yet, but maybe they did. And if they did, I might have used them in my first hard mode playthrough. But then I did an even harder playthrough later on, which we'll go over. Certainly challenging. So you gotta make more food, you gotta make more oxygen. Gotta be really careful about the stress. I tried to build a statue here in the final part of the series. I don't think I actually ended up putting the head on it in this playthrough, but because there's an achievement, I think, linked to making the statue. Here's kind of the industrial area. We're growing mushrooms beside the power plant. Now we've already had rockets, so this next one is from the launch upgrade. So it's slightly out of order, but I think they added some more space stuff in this playthrough, so I started again. Some disasters happening. The old telescope there. I think I was trying to build some kind of... I don't know what I was trying to build there, to be honest. I can't recall. Oh, I think I was using mafic rock to heat up water. Here we are zoomed out. I think I only built 1 or 2 rockets on this one. Checking out all the overlays. Kind of a smaller base. I didn't go as far. But like I said earlier, each time they came up with a new upgrade, I would usually restart to try all the new things. Because sometimes the map generation would change as well. Okay, this next one coming up. This is another 100 dupe base. But I actually go to the very end. I end the game. I finish the game in the main game, not the DLC. This one was super fun as well. This was a big base, long base, lots of dupes. Lots of paintings, lots of critters. Just stacked to the gills with dupes. Lots of symmetry in this base. Which is fun sometimes, but I also like kind of organic bases that look a little bit different. Here we are. This was one of the first times I built the liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen system. Now this design, I came up with my own design, but I think this one is more based on someone else's design. But you use supercoolant, as you probably all know if you've done this far in the game. Use supercoolant to cool down your oxygen and hydrogen. Good times. That's a hydrogen rocket there, which you need to get to the very end of the game, the farthest kind of thing, the temporal tear in the base game. You gotta fly to that thing and then you finish the game. Okay, this next base was the 100K challenge. This was a challenge map someone came up with. Extremely cold temperatures. This was before the RIME asteroid, which is super cold, existed. And I think the central part of the base when you start out is temperate, but then everything around it is like minus, well, it's 100K, it's 100 Kelvin. It's super, super cold. So it has its own challenges, trying to warm things up. I think I had a zombie spore explosion here, as you can see. Managed to persevere though, and kind of get through it. Made a couple petroleum rockets. Now I didn't finish the game in most of my playthroughs. I got to a point where things were sustainable, but not necessarily, and early on in the game they didn't even have an ending, so just kind of a zoomed in version of the base, trying to get snazzy suits on everyone. Get a rocket launch in there. There's kind of some power generation right inside the base. Probably not the best idea, but it worked. Actually, it's probably there to warm up the base, because things started out really cool. Got a giant petroleum pool, water pool. Okay, so this playthrough was the even harder mode. It was on an even harder asteroid. I think it was the Oasis map. One of the hardest asteroids where the chance of survival is slim. And it was all the hardest settings, and care packages were off or I didn't use them. So some more self-imposed challenges. It was fun, but the one thing about playing on the hardest settings, things just go slower. I think some of the asteroids that have you have to deal with extreme heat, those are a little bit more varied and challenging. There is a way to build vacuum walls quite easily that negates a lot of the temperature transfer, so here we are zoomed out on this playthrough. Lots of sand and dirt in the center of this one. As it was the Oasis kind of desert map. This one started out super, super hot. This one was in 2020. Early 2020. And we're on to our next one. This is I think the second last one. This is when Spaced Out came out. My first playthrough in Spaced Out, I think. Or one of the first playthroughs. We got plug slugs, I think, somewhere along the way here. I really enjoy the Spaced Out DLC. That's all I pretty much play now. I don't play the base game anymore, even though the base game is fantastic. I just like, I like how you can go to new asteroids and kind of, it's like starting from scratch almost every single time you go to a new asteroid. But everyone is different and it has its own challenges. So I really enjoy the DLC. What do we got going on here? Some oxygen production right in the base. Sometimes I do open air oxygen generation. We've got our solar panel pyramids. They're arranged that way because it's more, you can get more light and get more efficiency. Here's the first tiny rocket we went into, I think. With an unpowered fridge and probably like a gas thing. And this is the larger rocket room. There was a bug early on where you could build outside the rocket, so you could build this giant full screen sized rocket. It's pretty funny. And here we are. This is the final, not the final base I've done, but a more recent base. This was going all the way to the end in the DLC. This was a really fun playthrough. I think this is my longest series with like something like 44 episodes or something. Super fun. Challenging in I think I played it on the regular settings, but challenging because you had to go to every single asteroid, get established. I used nuclear power on this playthrough. Super fun to play with nuclear power, except when your reactor blows up, which I think it did twice on that playthrough, but I scum saved and went back. I think I forgot to hook up a water pipe. I dug out the entire asteroid pretty much on this one. On the main asteroid, got some excess oil there. Here's some of the overlays of the end of the base. Lots of oxygen, not a problem there. It's the wiring diagram, I think. We got temperature, getting a little chilly in the bottom of the base there. I think I made a steam room in this one. That's the gas overlay, or materials overlay. No, it's the gas overlay. So we're nearing the end of this kind of 5-year 20 base review. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you enjoy this kind of thing, hit the like button. Helps the channel out. And I'm almost at 75,000 subscribers. Pushing for 100,000. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. And like I said, I'll link to every single playthrough I've ever done in the description if you want to. I'll do them in chronological order if you guys want to see. Now this was the end of that series where we flew to the temporal tear. There was like a mission where we had to open it first and then we flew into it, but that was the end of the DLC. I won't show you what happens because that's a bit spoilery, but I also got a playthrough going on right now if you guys want to check that out, where I try to do every achievement in one playthrough. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Bye bye.